Hi everyone, welcome to 5 Questions with LeRoy Butler. I'm a little under the weather today, but compared to the Packers, I'm a bright, sunshiny day.
Yeah.
You know? These guys got a dark cloud hanging over their heads after this loss on Sunday.
And I can understand that. I was part of that. Remember we went to Indianapolis, I think they were 0-10, and they beat us, Lenny and Ponte, the coach who drafted me.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel you kind of almost like, what happened? And what could you have done better?
Right.
Because you're supposed to win games you're supposed to win if you're a Super Bowl contending team.
Yeah.
And they let one slip away.
How long do you let that bother you? I mean, you're supposed to turn the page, right?
You're supposed to, but there's a human element to players when you're always trying to be perfect. That makes you say, just like I said before, what could have you done better? Did I make mistakes? And you try to stay together. Mm-hmm. And I think for the most part, some of the guys, took to Twitter or talking to guys like you in the media, that kind of, people may question whether or not the locker room is really together now. I mean, offensive linemen think they should run the ball more, and maybe McCarthy's system, he wants to throw more. Then you throw in Benson's injury. You're hopefully, if you're a Packer fan, you hope these guys are together enough to, hey, look, it's still early. We got to get this thing going. And not to mention, you're playing the best team in the league next week.
On Sunday night.
Yeah, the Texans.
Okay, well, there's many issues to get to, but let's start out with the offense first. Okay. And one of the things you mentioned was there was T.J. Lang, Josh Sitton after the game. We're pretty flat out said we've got to run the ball. We can't throw it 20 times in a row because it's not going to work. Is that true?
Well, I think this. It's a quarterback-driven league. It's not a running back-driven league. If anybody out there can name me the top 10 running backs in the league, I think when you get to 5, you're going to stop. With that being said, Alex Green had eight carries for 14 yards before his long run. Cedric Benson, before he got injured, had some 2 yards here, but he got 1 9-yarder. So the running game wasn't working. All that being said, Jones-Drew, who sat out all the training camp last week, a couple weeks ago, got 169 yards on them. So you're thinking the running game would be a big part of it, but guys, that's not their system. But they don't.
You got to have some threat of it, don't you?
Well, they do have a threat. That's why they signed Cedric Benson.
Right, but after he went out, then McCarthy went from the time that Benson went out to the time Green busted off that run.
Right.
He called 33 passes and 9 runs.
Right.
On the road, you just can't. I don't think you can get away with that.
Okay, so you and some of the linemen and some of the Packer fans think to fix this offense, they need to run the ball more.
Yeah, at least have the threat of it.
I think they have more problems than that. I don't think running the ball comes up. I think if you're these linemen, T.J. Lang and Josh Sitton, if that's the case, they're sitting in that meeting room with McCarthy when he's doing the game plan. Why don't you stand up and say, listen, we're running the ball too less, we're throwing too much. To release it now, to me, is cowardice to me. You can't do that. You can't let us fans be reactionary like that. Say that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
they got to keep that stuff in the locker room.
They're in the emotion of a loss. It's not like, they're
going to have more losses, Tom.
We catch them at the time when they're most emotional.
I get that, but you got to be professional enough to say, you know what, I'm not going to give the media anything to throw at my coach. Now, if I'm McCarthy and I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm thinking these guys are saying they don't like the play calling. Well, they didn't say that to me. I'm thinking everything is fine because here's the game plan. Everybody get a game plan, by the way, not just Aaron Rodgers and McCarthy. Why didn't you express displeasure to your coach? And maybe they did. I don't know. But it would seem to me McCarthy's a player's coach. If his players went to him and said, look, we want to run the ball more, okay, great, we'll run the ball more, we'll implement more. But the first 2 passes to somebody people don't like, Jermichael Finley. They had all week to do the game plan. The first 2 passes out of the gate, they didn't run the ball. They threw it to Jermichael Finley. So my problem with all this is keep the communication more so in-house. And you're talking about a guy that loved to talk a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
So you got to learn from experience. And I thought they really learned to say, you know what, the one guy who can get us in the position to win a championship is Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Now,
okay, well, let's
talk
about two things. One, they're going to go, it looks like Cedric Benson's going to be out an extended period of time, possibly 2 months.
Okay.
I think if that's the case, they're going to put him on injured reserve, and that's the last we'll see of Cedric Benson this year.
So what's your solution?
Now, what do they do? Exactly. Now, they've got Alex Green, they've got Brandon Sane, and they've got James Starks.
Right.
Right. So they have to find something out of that. Now, who knows if they will? They've, like you said, they've gone several years or through McCarthy's whole thing without really, with all the emphasis on the passing game. Okay, well, let's move to the passing game.
Okay.
That's not working right now.
Right.
Something's wrong.
Well, we'll talk about it, X and O's, but I will say this. Rodgers is not on his game right now. Me personally, and I know people are going to say Jennings is out, nothing new. He's always missed some games. It should be, in my opinion, in my professional opinion, it should be the Randall Cobb show. Everything should be going through Randall Cobb. Otherwise, you're going to see Rodgers in that position. The sooner you can get the ball out on the perimeter to Randall Cobb, it opens it up for everybody. He's running reverses. You look at his targets, Tom. 4 targets, 4 catches, touchdown. Go all the way back to San Francisco game. 9 targets, 9 catches. So my thing is, they got to look at this offense and say he is the new Greg Jennings if Jennings is not there. We're trying to make Jordy Nelson the #1 receiver. 2 catches, 29 yards. James Jones is a good complementary receiver. So with that being said, we got to get to this understanding as Packer fans, they're not going to score 35 points a game like last year.
Well, I would argue that they did get Cobb involved, and we're going to look at a play where Aaron Rodgers completely missed him. And
he's holding on the ball a little bit, but the reason why he's holding on to the ball to Packer fans, not because he wants to get hit. He's trying to give his receivers a chance to make a second and third move. You can't do that with an offensive line that is so depleted. You can't do it. So he has to have the ball come out on rhythm, and once that ball come out on rhythm, everything is fine. If it's not on rhythm, do what he's always done, Tom. He's one of the best scrambling quarterbacks in the league. But after RG3 getting hit and Michael Vick getting hit, I'm okay with him not running a lot. Just throw it away. I mean, for the most part, live to see another day.
Yeah, you have to do that. They're going into Houston now, and they're going to see a heavy dose of J.J. Watt, who's on, Milwaukee product, who's on his way to possibly, he's an NFL Defensive Player of the Year candidate.
Right.
In fact, this will be this week, and then the following week they go to St. Louis, and both those teams are rushing a passer like nobody's business.
Right.
This is going to be a real test of both their offensive line and Rodgers' ability to make quick decisions.
Well, no one can block J.J. Watt. I think the one thing he brings, not only is he batting down passes at the line, the guy has an energy and a motor that you've never seen in the last 5-6 years. Now people say, why did they let Mario Williams leave? Can you see now?
Sure.
And then you bring in a guy that, was head coach in Dallas, Wade Phillips, to implement his game plan. So, not to mention that, they got the best running back in the league, Arian Foster. But back to the defense for a minute. Remember a couple, 3 years ago, they had the worst defensive secondary in a long time. They brought in some free agents, and they've done it the right way. But for the most part, draft picks. I just don't know where you can put that, who can on that offensive line can block J.J. Watt one-on-one to give Aaron enough time to get the ball down the field. Now, we will show it's going to be opportunities on the Texans secondary to make plays.
Because they take chances.
Yes, they absolutely take chances. So this could be a game that could be a big track meet if the Packers can understand that.
They're going to have to be sharp. They're going to have to.
Sharp is a good way to put it.
Going to have to get rid of the ball. Be on top of it.
And I think he will. He understands that. And no one wants to be a perfectionist more than Aaron Rodgers. No one hurts more than Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he wants to do more for his team, but I think he's doing too much. And with that being said, you look at all the gaudy numbers, but if you think about it real quick, Tom, the Atlanta Falcons, me and Gary Ellison talked about this. What did they do? They used to run the ball all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They're not running it very much. You know, their quarterback, Matt Ryan, he threw it 52 times.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody knows it's a quarterback-driven league, but at the same time, you just told me you got Brandon Saint,
mm-hmm.
Alex Green, and James Starks. Is that somebody you want to run the ball with?
Yeah, well, that's going to be the question. You know, and what defense are you going to get? Maybe you have to run the ball.
I say you're going to see Aaron Rodgers throw the ball 40 times.
I would agree with
probably.
that. I would agree with that.
I don't know if it's the right
get
formula.
sacked 6 or 7 times if they don't.
Not just J.J. Watt.
Yeah.
The other guys may sprinkle 2 or 3 in there.
Absolutely. If they don't run the ball, he's going to get sacked 6 or 7 times. So it's just the way it's going to go.
Well, let's hope they run the ball a little bit.
We'll see.
That'll make you happy.
Yeah.
Thank you to all my sponsors, SynixMarket.com. And oh yeah, you can pick up my new cookbook at Synix Ballester, owned and operated, this Wednesday starting at 7 a.m. And thank you to the Salvation Army doing the most good. Stay tuned for Coast for Kids, a great campaign that we're also doing. And W.J. Kuhn in Oak Creek with all your automotive needs.
And we will be right back with X's and O's.
Yeah, stay tuned for that.
2 really good plays, so join us.